If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sori says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at insori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in a Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. It shall lead them
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear
All right,
listener.
the MF Doom Deep Dive stream. We are on our last song.
Unfortunately, and according to Negative Vibe, last track of this night and his last track ever. Damn.
Oh.
Damn. Rest in peace to the big homie. Rest in peace
What happened
to
to
the big
him?
homie. I mean, I don't want to speculate on it, but he died at 49, and it wasn't COVID, and his son had died.
Oh,
like
I thought you were talking about his
earlier.
brother when you said that. Oh, okay. I do remember what you said.
Yeah,
that.
so.
Okay. MF Doom and Bad Not Good, the Chocolate Conquistadors. This is the final non-feature recording that MF Doom ever released. The track was released initially into one of the radio channels in the game Grand Theft Auto Online in December of 2020. MF Doom passed away on Halloween of 2020, but the announcement wasn't made until New Year's Eve, when it was confirmed that the world lost what could very well have been the most uniquely talented lyricist of all time. Doom was notoriously private with his personal life, and as such, cause of death was never announced. This hopeful-themed upbeat track is a collaboration with Canadian jazz combo Bad Not Good, who provided the live recorded music. Okay.
All right. Here it is, the last song from the big homie, from our brother MF Doom. Here's GMB. Nothing happened to him. It's just Negative Vibe telling us it's his last stream. GMB probably doesn't know that he's dead.
Right.
All right, guys, here we go. MF Doom. What did we say the title of the song was?
This one is called, well, the Chocolate Conquistadors.
Conquistadors. All right, Chocolate Conquistadors. Let's do it.
Kind of a jazz feel.
Cosas de unos hombres. Ayer, estos hombres eran hombres bravos. Llegaban de África con la fuerza de la belleza. Ay, mijo, conquistaban la ignorancia y la bestia de humanidad. Daban al mundo la luz y la fe, también el Dios cósmico. Nos llamamos los conquistadores. Chocolates.
Yeah. I knew he was going to say chocolates. yo, this is a crazy line. Because as a black person, how do you teach your kids about slavery? Because this is one of the things that my white friends don't understand. When they say things like, oh, we're all Americans. We have to learn we're all Americans. You have to teach your sons how you got here. And you black people in this country are the products of rape. Metaphorically and literally. All black people in this country are the products of rape. So, which obviously has implications for a lot of things, which is one of the reasons why I have positions about other topics, but I want to keep it focused on MF Doom. And so, imagine if you were a father of a son who was the product of rape, and you had to finally sit down and explain that to him. That's kind of what it's like to be black in America and explain to your children how we got here. What's fascinating about this, about the way he does it here, he says, come with me and I'll tell you some things about some men. Oh, these men, they were valiant men that arrived from Africa. See what he's doing? So instead of, and this is kind of what I was explaining previously about there were certain institutions that were made for certain people and not made for other people. Because there's a consciousness of the psychology of how explaining the transatlantic slave trade is going to affect his children. So there's a consciousness of how he's saying that, instead of just saying, yeah, you know, these white people that showed up and blah, 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 and they took you and blah, 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 you know, and so by the end of the school year, the kid walks out with an inferiority complex and the white kid walks out with a superiority complex, and both of them don't know that they have those complexes. So if you explain to a person, yo, that's a racist shit to say, they'll say, what are you talking about? I have a racist bone in my body. And they believe that, I believe that they believe what they're saying. But this is and I'm certain it's the same thing that indigenous people have to deal with when they're explaining what happened to their folks. Because their folks, you have to explain how you got here and how indigenous native people are in the current condition they're in.
Right.
How did this happen? Are we just a group of people who are just horrible and fucked up and can't handle alcohol or whatever? Or did something else happen? So that's one of those things that people that don't have those experiences cannot understand. So like you know, when you were coming up, what did they call the slave drive, like managers or something? I found some weird homeschool book where they were calling the slave owners managers or something like that. So what's fascinating is like white people.
I don't remember what they said. It was the same. Like those were the books that we used. I was just so horrified by the topic, and right. I had separated myself from what they had done because I was like, oh, these people, they would have been considered religious though, wouldn't they have been?
Yes.
But we didn't understand that. So I just thought like, oh, these are evil white people. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, well, we're the Christians. We would never do something like this. Not realizing, and they never told us that some of the pastors that we were looking up to, you know, rallied against
right.
stopping slavery. So
right.
It wasn't, yeah.
So he says, oh, my son, they conquered ignorance and the beasts of humanity, which is, you know, 5%er and Nation of Islam type theology, that the black man comes from God and that the you know, the Europeans are essentially beasts or Neanderthals or whatever, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They gave light and faith to the world and also the cosmic God. We call them the chocolate conquistadors. So he's talking about enslaved people as conquerors. And he's recasting them as conquerors, yeah. And he's recasting them. I think the best recasting I've ever heard of this was from the Honorable Minister Farrakhan, where he said, he was talking about black people always wanting acceptance from white people in their institutions. And he said, what the hell is wrong with you? Don't you know who you are? And then he said, you are the descendants of the, you know, X% who are able to suffer the brutality of the Middle Passage. Because there are a lot of us that never made, a million people, low estimate, that didn't make it from Africa, you know, through the Middle Passage. And so he said, you know, he's using a little bit of Darwinian sort of natural selection, like, if you're able to survive all of that shit, And then if our ancestors were able to survive that and all the rest of it, and we were able to create things like Black Wall Street, how dare you hang your head? You're not facing more opposition than they did.
Right.
And they were able to make it, and you're the sons and daughters of those people that were able to survive anything. There's nobody on the planet that can survive what you have survived, genetically speaking.
Right.
It's a very powerful way of teaching about the transatlantic slave trade. You're not taught that as a black kid in school.
No.
And what's fascinating is when the white kids were coming home and saying, hey, our ancestors are really fucked up people, white folks immediately said, whoa, we gotta fix this here. Even though it was true.
What do you mean?
They called that critical race theory.
Oh. Right.
And they went crazy. Tucker and all those people went crazy.
Yeah.
Because they know that even teaching the history provides a certain mental residue after the history is taught. They're trying to pretend, hey, we're just trying to... But they know that you have to put a context around it because there are subliminal meanings to the history that you teach, depending on what angle you want to take. And I can assure you, when I was in the 5th grade at Port Malabor Elementary, Mr. Pegram, God bless him, was not telling me that I was at the pinnacle of natural selection, and that's how my genetic pool survived that horrific travel from Africa to America via the Middle Passage. They were not teaching it that way for obvious reasons. I do remember doing a lesson in school about slavery where you had to write from the perspective of the slave master as to why you didn't want to free your Negroes. I'm dead ass serious. So
wait, say that again.
My point is the opening verse here to me is unbelievable poetry. Because this is how he's talking about the transatlantic slave trade, and it has so many implications, and that's just the intro to the song. So now we're going to the actual song.
Oh yeah, we didn't even finish the song.
We continue.
Wait, hold on. When you're saying that stuff, I think to myself, well, that's true. I didn't. What is that? Sickle cell anemia. That
Yeah.
I knew that black people had that, but I didn't know that genetically they would be stronger because of. The weak couldn't survive.
Right.
So that is kind of peculiar. That why would anybody even tell me that information? Why would I need to know that?
Of course. Like Germany, for example. Germany, when they teach about the Holocaust, they have an agenda behind that teaching, which is we're never going to replicate the Holocaust in Germany.
Yeah.
Of course, they are with their babies, but
yeah.
At least racially, you're safe in Germany. Your age, not so safe, but racially, you'll be safe in Germany. But the point is, they're teaching that information. They have a very specific agenda. And there's reasons that there are no statues to Hitler and all that stuff allowed in Germany. There's reasons for that. So when people try to pretend, oh, we're just teaching history and we're just telling what happened. No, you're not telling what happened. You're telling what happened, just like the gospel writers. Yeah, of course they were recording history. Bart Ehrman says they're recording history. But the gospel writers obviously had an agenda.
Yeah.
Anybody that teaches history has an agenda for the future.
Right, yeah.
That's a fact. So that's the point of that. Like the way that he explained that is so beautiful. And it stuck out to me because he lost his son a couple years prior, MF Doom did. And again, there's speculation that the loss of his son is related to his death. So in the last song that he's doing, he's teaching a young boy as a father about finding a way to maintain pride and dignity as a black man, considering the circumstances that brought you here. It's just very touching to me because there's not a lot of moments like that in the black community in the media. Mm-hmm. So that's why I like that first little verse was very touching to me. Yeah. And especially one of the things I learned about the community was the indigenous population and the bullshit indigenous people have went through. And I've the kinship that I feel with them has been heightened. Larry, obviously the main one being Pony, but I do have that kinship with those people because of that. But anyway, that to me is one of the most amazing just words of poetry. Forget lyrics, just poetry in general. That's amazing.
On a happy
Legitimize living lies.
Our baby's doing 10 weeks, and he has hiccups right now.
Yes, the fetus does have hiccups.
The clump of cells.
The word
currently.
Yeah. Well, you want him, so he's a baby. If we didn't want him, then he'd be a fetus.
Terrible.
Then we could do whatever we want to do. Oh my God! God help these people.
He's
Holy
clearly
shit.
head down and he has hiccups.
Yeah. God help these people.
Ridiculous.
Holy smokes, these people. Okay, here we go. Here are the lyrics, guys. Here are the lyrics. Let's go back a little bit.
También el Dios cósmico. Los llamamos los conquistadores.
Chocolates.
Chocolates. Legitimize living lies, channel the cosmos. These God flows here to civilize. Hear them footsteps, here come the Moors, Neanderthals and scores, eating wild boars. Thousands of years on tour. Organize y'all, wild whores, smelling like animals through the pores, on all fours. Foul cannibals hear the roars, raw flesh, rebellious and lawless. Taught by the autochthonous, all blessed, all dressed in garbs of royalty. Gods we swore to be, righteous laws accordingly. Educated by the highly elevated, melanated, and mind renovated. Once they stumble across the right answer, remarkably similar to Wakanda, White Panther, herbs combat cancer, detoxing the liver, sexual enhancers, symbolisms in Hollywood, jolly good, shows us how evil will manifest, or probably could, divine beings, mind freeing, conquistadores, chocolates. Through the corridors of deep space, high beings, all I see in fine meaning, clairvoyant mind reading, nervous system, service wisdom, flow superior, determined rhythm, electricity, eccentricity, Afrocentric synchronicity, in the air everywhere taking over, chocolate conquerors, supernova, educating, dominating, time deflating, bomb on Satan, wickedness gone, soaring shaking, force awakens, it's time, back to them caves, conquistadores, chocolates.
Back to the caves. He's making reference to Neanderthals, back to the caves, etc. That's the Nation of Islam. Damn.
Okay, babe, you know that. First of all, shout out to Kai, who also made a donation to Pony's friend's schooling. Thank you for that.
Of course. Let's talk about this again real quick. Pony's got a friend that's about to go to school or graduate school.
Well, she's in college, but she had, at the start of this, she had $613 left to pay for her schooling this fall. And so if anybody can make any donations, I put the link in the description of both both channels. It's also here in the stream. And like I said before, like, even if you're like, I only can do $1, don't feel embarrassed about $1. Like, anybody that does that is just, they're helping. So
we're in the middle of a recession.
Yeah, anything that
giving
anybody,
$1 is pretty freaking significant. If you can't give $1, do not feel bad about yourself at all. Retweet it.
Right.
Retweet it. Put it on Facebook. Raising awareness is just as important. Sometimes it's done even more. So, okay.
Babe, the first verse, right? Remember that? So there was like this rap song with this guy and this girl, and he's like rapping real smooth and slow, and then she starts singing. You show it to me every once in a while.
Oh, the Ich bin here.
Yes. Didn't the first verse kind of sound like that?
Yes.
Yeah, I was hoping he was going to go back to that style, but he didn't. He only did that style in verse 1.
Yeah, there's a lot of 5%er Louis Farrakhan shit in here. And we talked about this, like, where we talked about, like, he talked about Neanderthals, people living in caves, things of that situation. Educated, dominated, time deflating, bomb on Satan. Again, in Nation of Islam theology and sociology, Satan is a very real, active person, group of persons, and systems in the world today. The wicked is gone, torn and shaken, force awakens. It's time back to them caves, Conquistadors, chocolates, because in Farrakhan's mind state that things are going to get back to normal, and then, the devil's going to go back to where he came from, which is, the caves of, whatever. So this song depresses the hell out of me, bro, because this song, especially like that section at the end with the jazz and the funk and it was like, damn, bro, because I had mentioned, like, I wish he would have got into some new metal, you know what I'm saying, or metal, because the references that he makes are so accessible to people. This one was specifically for black people. Like, and a specific group of a kind of black people. This is for the conscious 5%er Nation of Islam type. It's full of those little Easter eggs. I'm not even going to break them down, just because I don't want to offend anybody, and I don't want people to misunderstand this dude. But there's a lot of Easter eggs. Like, if you're familiar with that theology and that ideology, he put a lot in here, and it's crazy to me that it's like this is his last song. Yeah. He's talking to his son, and then there's all that jazz and just the brilliance of black music and what we were able to do. But I wish he would have been around longer, man, because he was only 49. And the way that rap is right now, like with the melody and the usage of melody, there's so many things he could have done, like, and even to cross over. And he was so willing to cross over with other people. We only heard 8 songs, so maybe he's done work with some metalheads. I'm not sure. I'm waiting for thank you, by the way, Clay, for the super chat. What is that? He's got some.
I saw
that's weed
smoking. Well, no, it doesn't.
Is that weed or is that cigarette? I would much rather it be weed than cigarette, bro. Like that cigarette, that should have killed.
And then he's looking and coffee.
And he's got the coffee, but yes. Shout out to Michelle. But yeah, it's so sad, man, because he was so good as a lyricist.
Sad.
That he had mastered rapping, that, like, I would have loved, because I know people like him, like, they get restless and they have to create, and like, he would force himself to do something, like, completely different, you know what I'm saying, and like, especially if he was able to collab with all these different types of bands, like, he would have been insane, like, man. But again, like, that's what happens, man. Like, you run into somebody who's a creative genius, like that, that's kind of one of the drawbacks of it. They tend to be mercurial, and sometimes they check out
too soon
for whatever reason, before what we consider before their time. He had 3 albums come out in the same year in 2004. So like it's just a crazy thing. Like, dude definitely was on a different take, and he really was a pure artist. This obviously is my favorite song for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
A lot of reasons. This reminds me of like being at 149th and hearing the Nation of Islam preachers, and then they have the bean pie and the Final Call newsletter, and you would hear so much stuff like this.
Really?
Oh yeah. You'd hear so much stuff like this. So it's crazy to me. Like, this is dude's last song. Like, this is the last song we heard from this guy, and it was so good. And his, it spanned. Was it 2016 or whatever? When was this last song? He took us from 1999, his first record, all the way to his last song, which I don't know when that came out.
Well, it was this one. It says that it was released in the game Grand Theft Auto Online in December of 2022. Wow. 2020. I'm sorry, 2020. But he had passed away on Halloween.
Yeah, I remember.
So,
yeah, this one was 2020. So like you spanned all the way.
Yeah.
He kept the core of his sound, but he never got too repetitive, and there was so much variance, and you could see his growth, man. It's a real loss, man. And like I said, it part of the reason like it's affected me like that is because like I just missed him, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, he was underground prior to 1999, but if I'd have been like really had my head to the street, like on the hip hop side, I would have caught this dude eventually. You know what I'm saying? Especially in New York, I'd have been able to see him. I'm sure. You saw everybody in New York. If you wanted to, like, you would see,
Yeah.
all the acts that you wanted to see. Everybody came to New York, and a lot of times it was like these dingy. I remember we had this. It was on 14th Street. Korn went to play all these massive it's like a dingy, like, it was smaller than Cell. CBGB's. The name of the place was CBGB's. It is like this legendary place on, the D train, 14th Street or whatever.
Small?
In Greenwich Village, huh?
It was small?
It was very small. Yeah, comparatively, like for venues that major bands. But it's New York. It's CBGB's. It's legendary, yada, yada, yada. So every band has to go there. It's closed down now, I think. But, like, my point is, like, I would have been able to see this dude live. And in the documentary, it's crazy because there was this kid that met him before the show, and the kid, like, went insane, was crying. Black dude, like, city kid, crying, and then, like, he shot him out from the stage, and the kid lost his mind. He's like, yo, MF Doom said I was T Boogie or something like that. He gave me a nickname. Like, the dude was losing it. He was crying, and, like, this was a real, like, he was a real city dude. You know what I'm saying? So it was crazy, bro, to, like, I could have been there. Like, I could have seen this guy live and in person. Like, that's a crazy thing that, like, that gets me about this song. And like I said, it is positive and stuff like that. Like, it's definitely, like...
Well, yeah, I mean, I know that, like, obviously I was raised in white culture. But there's not really, like, or at least the way that I was raised, there wasn't, like, this celebratory, like the way that you are about black culture and the way that you celebrate and the way that you, like, in this song, like, when he's talking about it and he's like, oh, my son, they conquered ignorance, the beasts of humanity, they gave light and faith to the world, and also, you know what I mean? Like, he's giving it there's so much power behind it. And, like, a lot of times, like, when I obviously never would, this is terrible sounding to say obviously, but I never wished that I was a black person. I mean, I was pretty happy and content where I was, but when you talk about it and you go on about it, it does make me wish I was a part of that because of the way, like, the importance that you place on it. Plus, I'm always casted as the white devil. So, I mean, my God. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that this is so important.
Yeah, you're a straight devil, bro.
I think that this is so important to be able to give that to your children. And I remember, like, when,
100%.
I had history taught to me a certain way, and then, like, as I'm talking about history with the kids in the way that I was taught it, like I noticed like I was like slowing down because I was like, well, wait a minute, like, because when we were talking about history, like you could get on the real emotional side of like, you know, a particular story, like, you know, Kunta Kinte and like what happened to him and the people that surrounded him, and like all those events were just so horrific. But then there was the almost non-emotional side of it, which is just, you know, slavery happened, we overthrew it, we're on to another phase now. It's almost like there's not really a whole lot. But you can't say slavery happened. It's like you said at the beginning of all this, which was really eye-opening to me when you said, like, if you had to sit down with your son and explain to him where he came from and he was a product of rape, how difficult that conversation would be. And obviously, if my son was the product of rape, that means I got raped. And you have to tell my son that that's the story of his mother also. You don't want your kid to see you like that. You don't want them to have that picture in their head. So yeah, so I think that like when, you know, when we're talking about that, it's like, okay, this was our history. And when I'm saying to my kids, like, that's when I started like slowing down about the discussions of like, because what has stuck out to me in history, one of the things of slavery and how, you know, like we're not in that place anymore. But then I stopped talking about that stuff because I felt like felt like I couldn't present it in a way that wasn't going to, like, I didn't know what damage that was going to cause by me talking about it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I hear what you're saying.
So I just let you really be the one that was going to talk about that because I didn't want it to be, you know, I just knew that I was so ignorant in the sense of I lacked knowledge on the subject and how that was going to influence my black children. And I think, you know, now I've been more into your culture for longer. So, you know, when it's time to teach, you know, Reza and Orion, I think it will be a little bit different.
Yeah, and that's why he says, taught by the autochthonous, and it's all blessed, all dressed in garbs of royalty, gods were sworn to be, righteous laws accordingly. So that would be, autochthonous would be the indigenous people.
Yeah.
Outside of colonial influence.
Yeah.
So that's what he's talking about there. All dressed in garbs of royalty, gods were sworn to be. 5% Nation of Islam. That because the black man is the first creation of God, he is the son of God himself, and then other peoples are the sons of us. Right? Which is why I said black women invented childbirth. We're very good at it. Why are black women? Why do they have the highest mortality rate in America? And of course the Margaret Sanger and her Nazi friends say the solution is abortion to black maternal mortality. It's stuck for God forgive you people. Holy shit. These are some wicked people. This song's a 10 for me. I really, really love this song. It's a deep song, and like I said, there's a lot of Easter eggs if you're very familiar with 5%er theology and Nation of Islam. There's a lot in there. Shout out to MF Doom. I would have loved to have a conversation with this guy. It's a real loss, man.
Yeah.
This is like the worst I've felt, but I'm glad that I feel this way because I'm like, yo, I just discovered an artist that has years and years of work in his discography that I can now get back in and listen to.
Yeah.
Because this dude is this is a kind of rap that I'm into, and I feel like this is a kind of rap that's timeless. So thank you very much, Negative Vibes and River Off. Even though it's like I'm not ending on like a Spike the Football energetic and happy, like I'm very content with the fact that I know that this guy's discography's here and that he is worth listening to because holy shit, like I missed out on a big one. I'm glad that I discovered Korn. Like I don't think I would change it. I wouldn't change it. I'm glad I didn't come up with Doom, so now I get to meet him and I've got a lot of I got a ton of music to go through now. So I'm very, very, very grateful for that. But holy shit, man, 49 years old. We could have used his commentary, especially coming up with this election, man.
I know,
because
yeah.
you know, did he ever get it back to America? I wonder, because he had.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Or did he stay trapped?
Hey, you should have had me on that job, bro.
He could have got you in like that.
I could have got
with
you
a
in like that.
quickness.
I could have got you in like that. A little visit from the lady in the embassy in New York City. That was the funnest. I can't believe that shit, bro. That was crazy. That Homeland Security guy was so mad at me. I was just looking at dude, smiling. You know how I get. He was so angry. He's like, "Oh, I'm not gonna let this go."
You have a way of spiking the football without saying anything.
I spiked the hell out of the football on that guy, bro. Honestly. He's like, "This is gonna get federal." I was like, "Word, it's gonna get federal, word." Hey, shout out to the TSA. Shout out to Homeland Security. Shout out to that devil trying to keep me away from my family. Love all you people. It's a 10 for me. It's a 10 for me.
9.8 for me.
Shout out to Brooke. Brooke, I rambled.
Somebody anonymous gave another donation, so thank you to the anonymous donator for donating to her schooling stuff.
No.
Alrighty.
Yeah, shout out to the devil. Sori knows what I'm talking about. Shout out to all the devils out there.
Oh boy.
Easy 10 for me. What'd you give it?
I gave it a 9.8.
We got another niece and nephew coming.
Probably if I was you, it would definitely be a 10. Oh fuck. 10. I'll give it a 10.
Shout out to Clay. Shout out to Jambi. Jambi says he's anonymous. That means it almost certainly was not him. Jambi's too self-centered to worry about other people like that. All right. Seriously, Jambi shows up. It's immediately about him as soon as he shows up. Shout out to Jambi. We love you, buddy, with your selfish ass. Much love to everybody. Shout out to Raul. Shout out to Brooke. Busy Bee, Brooke Hornback, gang. Shout out to the Native American people. Shout out to Michelle and the new baby. Shout out to Amy Lee. We love all of you beautiful people. But most importantly, shout out to the big homie MF Doom. We'll see you again, inshallah. We really will. And shout out to Negative Vibes and River Roth. Damn, what a unique DJ stream this was. Thank you guys very much. May God forgive all the bots.
I know.
And help them not be as sick and perverted in the head. We love you all.
Yes, and may God bless our mods for jumping on that as soon as possible. Great job, you guys.
Yes, shout out to the mods.
Another night in the books.
R.I.P. Doom. R.I.P. Doom. Later to Kai. Obviously, Kai's my woods buddy. We're out in the woods with the devil. Vin out!